You're tuned in to Ask the Master Auto Technician. Car questions? Get answers right now. Call 850-763-0555.
James Auto Center, we fix it right, guaranteed. Beep, 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 yeah!
Welcome back to Ask the Master Auto Technician. It's early in the morning and you're probably sitting there going, why is this guy so bubbly? Well, I got up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and by the time 6 o'clock rolls around, I've had 2 or 3 cups of coffee, and I can actually rub 2 brain cells together and get a cognitive thought. But I got Scott Hobbs calling all the way from Mr. Rooter Plumbing. How you doing this morning? Are you awake yet?
I'm definitely awake. I think I was up about 4:30, so I got to sleep in late.
Well, I'm glad. Yeah, you know what? I did the same thing. I got to sleep in about 5 minutes later than I normally did, but I always get up before that alarm clock goes off, it seems like. But Scott, I know we've had a lot of rain here lately, and I bet you people have been calling and saying, hey, I've got a problem. My septic tank may be overfilled. It's not, my toilets are backing up. Is there anything people can do before they call you, or is it once they call you? What can people do to avoid this problem? Is there preventive maintenance? Is there crisis management? What can be done?
Sure. Well, first of all, we need to kind of understand how a septic system works.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, all the drains should flow into your septic tank.
Right.
If you're not on city sewer, of course. Mm-hmm. And then from the septic tank, it goes into the drain field. Mm-hmm. Now, once it enters the septic tank, there's going to be a process that happens, kind of a digestion of the sort. Mm-hmm. So the fats, oils, and grease will float to the top. Mm-hmm. The sludge will kind of fall, the heavy matter will fall to the bottom, and you have kind of a gray, clear liquid in the middle. Uh-huh. And we call that the crust on top, sludge on the bottom, and then you've got the clear liquid in the middle. Mm-hmm. And the clear liquid will make its way into the drain field. So basically you're getting a clear water going into the leach field or drain field and absorbing into the ground over time.
Oh, okay.
So from a preventative maintenance thought process, which I know that's kind of the basis of everything that you do at your shop, your septic tank should be pumped every 3 to 5 years as that crust starts to build and as that sludge on the bottom starts to build, and allowing that process to start over again.
Really?
So what happens is, as long as your toilets are flushing, everything's working, it's really one of those things that's underground, it's out of sight, out of mind, and people don't think about that until we get a lot of rain, and they start to bubble or overflow or have a concern that they call us out and say, hey, it's raining, we're backing up, and they're kind of at a loss why.
Okay, so I did not really realize it was every 3 to 5 years, because when I used to live out in Bayou George, we never pumped it till we had problems, and then it always seemed to be a problem, and then I had to dig up the drain lines, and I guess that's what ended up happening. We never pumped it out, and all that crust and stuff from the bottom built up and went into the drain fields, I guess, is what ended up happening, and we had to replace it. Is that kind of what happens if people don't pump their tank out?
Well, that's part of it. That's actually the best case scenario. So hopefully that when we get that call, because everything's overflowing, it's just because it hasn't been maintained, and that's simply we pump the tank, get everything cleaned out, get the friendly bacteria start to back up again, and they're in good shape. Now, secondary issue, if they have a drain field that's of some age, there's a life expectancy of a drain field, or if somebody has planted shrubberies or trees or things like that, or we also run into you built your house and a few years later your neighbor came in and he built his a little bit higher, then the other neighbor came in and he built his a little higher, and we have this kind of rain and everything washes to your backyard, and we look out in the backyard and there's 4 or 5 inches of water in the backyard, and you expect your septic system to work, it's not going to work.
That's true. It's not going to work. Now, a few years ago, Jimmy Petronas put a bill in there to make it a mandatory inspection every 5 years of your septic tank. I think that was removed, and I think maybe down South Florida they have that, but not up here. What are your viewpoints on that law? Because you probably studied it more than I did. Would that be a good thing or a bad thing to make it a mandatory pumping or inspection of your septic tank every 5 years?
Well, just from a personal standpoint, it's kind of tough to mandate. I feel like tell somebody, hey, you've got to mandate it. Now, I think the concern was a lot of areas that were around the conservation areas where there were protected waters. You know, we have a lot of pristine water here in Florida, and they really wanted to protect the waters, and they knew that if, you know, the septic system was maintained properly, that whole process would work properly. It would protect the waters of Florida. And of course, it didn't pass, and they keep kicking the can down the road over it. So I think we're okay for now. But you know, just good proper maintenance. Every 3 to 5 years, they should have their tank pumped. You know, it's going to avoid a backup in their home. It's going to avoid, you know, loss of service for a period of time. And when we get in a situation like now where we've got a lot of rain, all the septic tank companies, they're just going wide open, and it may be a day or so before we can get to you because there's only so many septic trucks, you know, in our area that can service, you know, hundreds, if not thousands of septic systems.
Now, didn't you tell me that you have to drive over 60 miles to dump your tanks?
We do. So when we fill up, let's just say we go to Southport or up in the Sunny Hills, and pump a tank, or out on the west end of Panama City Beach, we actually have to take and dump that in Port St. Joe. Port St. Joe is the only municipality that allows the dumping of the septic into their system.
Now, I know that once upon a time we touched on this. There is an underutilized sewer system in Northern Bay County that only has like 500 homes on it, and it's underutilized. Is there any reason that it wouldn't be advantageous to have the county charge a fee, like I'm sure St. Joe's doing, to dump y'all's honey wagons there? Is it set up for it? Is that the reason they're not doing it, or is it just cost prohibitive for them to retrofit their stations to be able to handle this overload?
Well, the septic is more concentrated as it comes in into a processing and treatment plant. It's more concentrated than, say, just a city sewer.
Right.
So I know there's a different process they have to go through to treat it. But it would seem like, as you know, and this probably gets into more political stuff than I'm privy to, but it would seem like, hey, we need to maximize this plant and help reduce and spread out the costs for everybody.
Oh, yes.
Let's figure out how to retrofit it so, you know, we can, you know, make more money with it, or at least cover our costs with it. And I would think this might be a way to do that.
I think so too, because if I know there's more than one sewer septic tank pumping station in Panama City besides Mr. Reuter, and if everyone, in my opinion, if you, the other septic tank pumpers, would say, hey, County Commission, we'd like a proposal for you. There's 10 of us, or how many ever, so, and we're trying to go down here, and it's costing us X amount of dollars in fuel every month to pump these things out. Why don't we figure out the cost where it's cost effective for us, cost effective for you, and where it's a win-win situation? Because if I'm not mistaken, most everybody on that sewer system is paying outrageous prices for sewage up there. I think they're paying like $150, $200 a month sewage bills. And I may be wrong, I may be speaking out of turn here, but I think that's what I remember reading. What is your opinion on this?
Yeah, they're definitely paying more than I believe they should be paying, and I think, you know, again, this is my personal opinion. You know, this may be a way for them to save some money, or at least spread out the cost and help cover the cost. It would definitely help us reduce, you know, because if you think about it, what we have to charge to actually pump a tank, and then to pay a person, to pay, you know, diesel fuel, the round trip,
wear and tear,
we have to factor that all into pumping your tank in, you know, in Southport, or coming from Sunny Hills, or wherever. So it would definitely reduce the cost to those that are on septic as well.
Well, I think that's a very good idea. I think if anyone listening to this show might want to go show up at the county commission meeting and say, hey, why don't y'all be turning that into a central location for other counties to come and use as well, instead of going to Port St. Joe and giving them the money? I'm sure they love it. I'm sure that really helps their sewer system stay afloat, no pun intended, by having all that stuff brought to them. But we could do the same thing in Bay County and actually probably make that station actually pay for itself, which would be a nice touch. Anyway, Scott, that's pretty darn interesting. I never thought, but the excessive rain is one of the reasons they're flooding, is because you've let all that you've let it just get too full. You've not pumped it out. And so is it too late to have your septic tank pumped out if it does flood, or is it going to be a continuing problem that you're just throwing money away? That's the question that my wife says, hey, is this something, once they pump it out, is it going to stay working, or are they going to have to come back next week in most cases?
Oh, no. Well, if your drain field is proper working order and it's just a lack of maintenance,
right,
that's why you're backing up, then you should be in good shape. But it's pretty much a company that does the pumping. They can immediately tell you, hey, your system's in pretty good shape. And they can't definitively say that it'll last for another 5 years, but they can say, hey, it seems as though your system's in good shape. Now, the ones that are not in such good shape, they should be able to tell you that too. Hey, this may not solve your problem long term. May not be a long-term solution for you.
Well, it sounds pretty interesting. It really is. I didn't realize how much plumbing had changed as far as the rules and regulations until I started talking to you. I thought they could pump out a septic tank and take it to the local sewer system treatment plant and drop it off, but I had no idea you had to travel all the way to St. Joe from wherever you are, whether it's the beach or from North Bay County. That turns into a long haul. That's almost a 100-mile round trip. If I'm not mistaken.
It can be.
Yeah, that's a long trip right there. Anyway, Scott, thank you so much for calling. If people want to get up with you, they can reach you at 763 or 785?
763-2001.
763-2001, and they can talk to Scott Hobbs, Mr. Rooter himself, and be able to get the answers they need to make sure that their sewage system, their their water heaters, there's no such thing as a hot water heater, their water heaters and all their lines taken care of. And you are hiring, I understand. You're looking for qualified plumbers that have good manners.
That's right, and we're also looking for those that want to get into the industry, have good work ethic, good home training, that want to learn the industry as well.
Yes, that's very, very important because learning a skill will get you through life. We're just having an education will sometimes put you on the dole, so to speak. All you end up with is a big bill you got to pay back on your student loan, and you have no future other than debt for the rest of your life. Thank you so much, Scott Hobbs. Give me a call, 763-2001. That's Mr. Rooter Plumbing right there on East Avenue in Panama City. They work all over Bay County, Washington County, Holmes. I think you get, 6 counties around here?
We do, from Gulf County all the way over into Okaloosa County.
Woo, that's a long ride.
It is a long ride.
All right, you be good. This is James Morris along with Anna Marie Morris. We'll talk to y'all tomorrow morning. Scott Hobbs, thank you so much for calling. And if you have a car question or you have a question for Scott Hobbs, give him a call at 763-2001. Or if you got a car question, you can call James Auto Center at 763-0555. Or my staff would be more than happy to help answer your question to the best of their ability. But if you're do-it-yourselfer, you need to call every morning from 6 to 6:30, and that way we can point you in the right direction, because I can't answer the phone after 6:30. My wife won't let me. She says, no, you ain't answer the phone. You give it enough time, and that's how it works here. We want to help you help yourself, but that requires you to make that phone call. We'll talk to y'all tomorrow morning. Bye-bye now.
James Auto Center.